Hello everybody, welcome to Learn Penang Hokkien. Today we learn to convert from POJ to Taiji. This is for the benefit of those who are familiar with POJ but now want to learn Taiji. Part 1, Intonation. I assume that you are familiar with POJ and so you are aware that it uses diacritic marks. Taiji, on the other hand, uses tone numbers. The traditional method of tabling the tones in the Hokkien language follows the ancient Chinese philosophy of yin and yang. This is used in POJ. We use the letter A, pronounce R in POJ and Taiji to illustrate the tones. There are 7 tone classes in POJ and they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. There is no tone 6 in Penang Hokkien. The first column is yin while the second column is yang. The first row with tones 1 and 5 is known as the level tones. The second row with only tone 2 is known as rising tone. The third row with tones 3 and 7 is known as the departing tones. The last row with tones 4 and 8 is known as the entering tones. With this combination in place, tone 1 is also known as yin level or dark level. 2 is yin rising, 3 is yin departing, 4 is yin entering, 5 is yang level, 7 is yang departing, and 8 is yang entering. In contrast, Taiji does not use yin and yang. It is a total reboot of representing tones created specifically for Penang Hokkien and for people unaccustomed to tabling the tones with yin and yang. While the tones in POJ follows the yin-yang table, the tones in Taiji are sequenced to correspond to the 4 tones in Mandarin as they are locally pronounced. This is to purposely make the tones easier for locals to understand. In Taiji, there are only 4 distinct tones in 5 different tone classes and they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3-3. Tone 3 and tone 3-3 sound the same in Taiji, but tone 3-3 behaves differently from all the other tones. To hear how each of the tones are pronounced, let's use the letter A as the carrier vowel. A, 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 A. Tone 3-3 sounds exactly like tone 3, which is A. How is it possible that Taiji has only 5 tones while POJ has 7? That's because Taiji does not recognize checked syllables, also called entering tones or plosives, as a separate tone class. And as you will see shortly, for Penang Hokkien, it is not necessary to separate checked syllables into their own class. Now let's compare POJ with Taiji. Because this lesson is created for the benefit of those who already know POJ, we will sequence the tones according to POJ. Tone 1 in POJ is written without any diacritic marks, so the vowel A is written in POJ as A and pronounced A. It corresponds to tone 1 in Taiji. Example of words in tone 1 include pa, ke, and ang. Moving on, tone 2 in POJ corresponds to tone 4 in Taiji. In POJ, this tone is represented by the acute accent, while in Taiji, it is represented by a 4. Examples of words in this tone include cha, sia, and bi. Tone 3 in POJ also corresponds to tone 3 in Taiji. It is written with the grave accent in POJ and with a 3 in Taiji. Examples in this tone include ka, kau, and mai. And now we get to tone 4 in POJ. Tone 4 is also written without any diacritic marks, so at first glance it may look like tone 1. The difference is that syllables in tone 4 in POJ must end with H, K, P, or T. Tone 4 in POJ is one of the 2 classes of entering tones, the other being tone 8. Entering tones are checked syllables, meaning the articulation comes to a stop. Depending on the final consonant, they are the glottal stop, velar stop, bilabial stop, and alveolar stop. Tone 4 in POJ also corresponds to tone 3 in Taiji. Taiji does not recognize entering tones as a separate tone class. However, the final consonant in Taiji is often different from that of POJ. In Taiji, the final consonant for the glottal stop is the K. For the velar stop, it's either the RK or IK. The bilabial stop is P, and the alveolar stop is the T. Example words in POJ tone 4 include ba, sek, kap, and lut. Next is POJ tone 5, which is written with the circumflex accent. It corresponds to tone 2 in Taiji. Examples include pa, mui, and ang. Moving on, there is no POJ tone 6 in Penang Hokkien, so we go to tone 7 next. Tone 7 sounds exactly the same as tone 3, but it is placed in its own class because it behaves uniquely. In POJ, it is represented by the macron, while in Taiji, it is written with 3-3. Example words in POJ tone 7 include wa, lao, and bo. And finally, tone 8 in POJ is also another class of entering tones. It is written with a vertical line above the vowel. As Taiji does not recognize entering tones as a separate tone class, tone 8 in POJ corresponds to tone 1 in Taiji. Example words in POJ tone 8 include a, sek, and jit. A quick recap before we continue. Tone 1 in Taiji corresponds to tone 1 and 8 in POJ. Tone 2 in Taiji corresponds to tone 5 in POJ. Tone 3 in Taiji corresponds to tone 3 and 4 in POJ. Tone 4 in Taiji corresponds to tone 2 in POJ. Tone 3-3 in Taiji corresponds to tone 7 in POJ. Next, we compare the tone sandhi between POJ and Taiji. In comparison to POJ, the rules of tone sandhi in Taiji is very simple. Tones 1 and 2 sandhis to tone 3. Tones 3 and 4 sandhis to tone 1. Tone 3-3 does not change. A major difference between POJ and Taiji is that words in POJ are always written in the citation form. The reader is expected to perform the sandhi as they read. In comparison, words in Taiji are always written according to how they are expected to be read, whether in the citation or sandhi form. Let me show you what is meant by comparing words and sentences in POJ and Taiji. This time we will sequence according to the tones in Taiji. Tone 1. Ang plus bo becomes ang bo. Notice that the word ang does not change spelling in POJ, whereas in Taiji, tone 1 becomes tone 3. This is in keeping with the rule of tone sandhi in Taiji, where tones 1 and 2 becomes 3, tones 3 and 4 becomes 1, and tone 3-3 remains unchanged. Another difference between POJ and Taiji is that syllables in POJ are joined by hyphen to form compound nouns, whereas syllables in Taiji are separated only by their tone numbers. Tone 2. Gu plus ba becomes gu ba. Tone 3. Lao plus zui becomes lao zui. Notice that when two words are placed side by side, the one in front sandhis. This is reflected in the change in tone numbers for the word in Taiji, whereas in POJ, the reader has to internalize the change himself. Tone 3-3. Lao plus lang becomes lao lang. In both POJ and Taiji, it is acceptable to write as compound noun as well as two separate words. And lastly, tone 4. Kau plus kia becomes kau kia. Next, we look at spelling. POJ was created some 200 years ago when people handwrite their communication. As such, it is not an issue to have unique characters in the writing system. Taiji, on the other hand, was created in the 21st century when people usually communicate by typing on a keypad or keyboard. As such, the system is designed to accommodate the use of the standard keyboard without including any unique characters. In this section, we learn a few key differences between POJ and Taiji spelling. The first one is the O sound. In POJ, this sound is expressed by writing an O with a dot at the top right. As this character is unique to POJ, it is not possible to reproduce on the standard keyboard without an insertion. In Taiji, this character is written with OR. Examples include O and Kau. Next is the nasalized sound. In POJ, this is expressed by adding a superscript N at the end of the syllable. In comparison, Taiji expresses the nasalized sound by inserting the N within the syllable. Examples include kia and sua. Finally, the third main difference between POJ and Taiji is to do with disambiguation. In POJ, two different words will be spelled the same way if they sound the same. For example, dog and the number 9. Also, the word for cannot and sell. In Taiji, some words that sound the same are spelled differently so that it is easy to disambiguate one from the other. As such, dog and 9 are spelled differently in Taiji, and so are cannot and sell. This covers the key differences between POJ and Taiji. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and if you are familiar with POJ, the information will now help you understand Taiji Romanisation.
Thank you for watching the Learn Penang Hokkien YouTube channel. If you like this video, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you again soon. Have a nice day.